Hey guys, HW. You can see the Anzac Bridge in the background over there with the flag flying high. I just stepped onto Harris Street in Ultimo. I just walked through the city to get here over the Pyrmont Bridge, and I tell you what, bloody hell, there is people everywhere. And it makes sense because we're coming up to the Christmas period in Australia. Pretty much the middle weeks of December, all the business activities start to die down and people start to go off on holidays. And so a lot of people are coming into the city to have their end of work Christmas drinks and Christmas parties, harbour cruises. When I walked over the Pyrmont Bridge, there was a bunch of people on harbour cruises, Christmas harbour cruises. So yeah, Harris Street in Ultimo. As you can see, there's a lot of old terraces, some old Victorian terraces along Harris Street. It is a pretty busy street, so we'll probably hear a bit of traffic as we walk along. But I just wanted to show you a few things in Ultimo. Now, Harris Street itself, it's named after a Dr. John Harris, who in the early 1800s was awarded, I think, a lot of the land around here. I'm trying to think of how many acres or hectares it was. I think it was about 33 hectares or something like that, as a noisy bus goes past. And so all of this area was farmland. Can you believe it? We're pretty much within spitting distance of the city, and all of this area around here in the early 1800s was farmland. So you can't imagine it now, but yeah, no, slowly over time, after various different family disputes within the Harris family, and with the local government and councils and all the rest of it, the land was slowly chipped away at and redeveloped and sold off and all the rest of it, to what you see today in Ultimo, which is a collection of residences, hotels, cafes, restaurants, big apartment blocks, and there's a few of these old remaining terraces as well. These terraces weren't built in the 1800s, so they came a bit later. Just before I go on a bit further, just wanted to have a quick shout out to Jenny, subscriber Jenny. Thanks very much for shouting me those nectars. I'll try to find a nice little coffee shop at the end of this walk and give you another shout out again then. So yeah, thanks again Jenny, buy me a coffee, much appreciated. So let's keep walking down Harris Street. Here's some of those big apartment blocks that I mentioned that have been built on Harris Street now. I don't know what year these ones were built. I would say they're probably built in the late 80s, those ones. Just passed by that cafe there called Two Sis & Co. Looked alright. Oh, by the way, it's quite windy today. The temperature, it's 23 degrees Celsius, which I think that makes it about 74 degrees Fahrenheit, right? It's an overcast day, so there's a bit of cloud around. The sun keeps popping in and out, so it's not too bad. The wind's from the southeast, so coming off the water, the wind's quite cool. So when I get into the shade, I start to get a bit cold, but when I get out into the sunny bits here, it's quite pleasant. So as I said before, there's a lot of people in the city today, not here in Ultimo, but when I walked through the city before, having their Christmas parties. I have had a couple of requests to do some Christmas decorations and a bit of festivity around Sydney, so I'll definitely do that soon. That might possibly be in the next vid. For that, I wanted to do a bit of the Christmas decorations around the city, maybe some of the shop fronts inside the stores, and then probably end it off by whacking in some Christmas lights as well. So stay tuned for that one, that'll be coming up soon. Along these apartment blocks here on Harris Street, there's a few little businesses, little IT shops, and a few restaurants and cafes. So again, those ones there, I dare say they would have been built in the 80s as well, those terraces or blocks of units over there. As we head up to this spaghetti junction up here, we're going to start to hit a bit of traffic, because this is where people change onto different expressways that pass through Ultimo. Back on Ultimo as well, so that Dr. John Harris, he had like 33 something hectares or whatever. Now Ultimo itself as a suburb, it's still only around 60 hectares all up. So it's a really small suburb that's stuck in between Glebe, Haymarket and the city. So I think I was reading the overall population for Ultimo in the 60 hectares that are here is still only around 7,500 people or something like that. So it's pretty noisy just here, so I'm going to switch off the camera here and catch you again on the other side of the road. So just over on that corner, so I decided instead of walking up that bit there, I'd sneak up this side of the road and get over here to one of the laneways, and at least that'll cut out a bit of the noise until we get further down into Ultimo. So let's get down this Ada Place if we can get through. So yeah, cool. So this is one of the many laneways that dot Ultimo, and again you'll see the telltale signs of old terrace houses. Look at these old ones up here with the old wooden balconies out the front. You always know they're old school when their balconies at the front are made of wood. Crikey, this is even an old one with sandstone blocks. So, given the mortar in between though, I wouldn't necessarily say that's the original. Looks like it's probably been built to look like an original one. So this is quite delightful, walking through Ada Place with the sun beating down and away from that noisy Harris Street. So again, both sides of the road, look at these delightful terraces. If you're wondering, being so close to the city, yeah, you're still going to be several million to buy one of these joints. Even if they are just small little terraces. Here's Quarry Lane. Wow, look at that building there. I don't know whether it's part of this white one here or whether it's just another one on its own. Look at that. Oh wow. It's a whole group of them all stuck together, and it looks like there's a terrace up the top there. Got some Christmas lights hanging off. That'd offer some good views, I think. So it's not too noisy in this laneway. So it'll be quite a pleasant place to live. It's just when we hit this corner down here and turn the camera and the microphone around, we're going to get whacked with the sound off Harris Street again. There's another little cafe over there. What's that one called? The B&G Cafe. Looks alright. So lots of little cafes and restaurants around Ultimo. So you're the best of both worlds. You're super close to the city, and then you also have community around you as well, and facilities. There's the city and Centrepoint Tower in the background over there. Give you an idea how close we are to the city. Alright, let's keep heading down Harris Street. He's a ghost here, trying to book people illegally parking. I think I've mentioned that before. That's what we call parking police or parking enforcement officers in Australia. We call them ghosts because they turn up out of nowhere to book you. Oh, here we go. I'm going to have to cross the road here because I want to face back and point out a couple of things here. Wait until I can get across safely. There we go. Oh, quick, gotta run. Oh, here's another delightful little coffee shop here, look. There's the Ian Thorpe Aquatic Centre in there. So there's a swimming pool and fitness centre in there. But what I wanted to film was I wanted to film this building here. See this big building here that's basically a collection of apartments now on Harris Street. This used to be the TAB head office for New South Wales, or what's called the Totaliser Agency Board. For you people overseas in the Northern Hemisphere, it was basically an off-track betting organisation which later became a betting agency that offered betting or wagering on all sorts of different sports. The building was sold off to private concerns by the TAB a long time ago. I think somewhere in the mid 2000s, because the New South Wales TAB was bought by the Victorian TAB, and they became the big conglomerate that they are now. So yeah, that used to be the TAB in head office in Ultimo, right across the road from the Ian Thorpe Aquatic Centre. Oh, look at that, we can actually see the swimming pool through the window. So let's have a quick peek. Try not to get myself in the reflection. So there you go. Can you see the people swimming their laps in there? It looks like a bit of fountain over the other side. The kiddies to play in. Now if I remember rightly, next to this TAB building, there used to be a child creche over here in this building. Over there, or a nursery, or whatever you want to call it. That workman's generator's making a lovely sound, isn't it? This is William Henry Street here. This takes you into Haymarket and the city down there. And also, if you go that way, it'll take you over to Glebe. There's the Glasgow Arms on the corner over there. That hotel's been there since day dot. Doesn't have any years printed on it, but even as a small child I remember that hotel being there, so it's been there a long time. So again, rather than just film this intersection, I'll just quickly switch off the camera again. Alright, across the road, just passing by the Glasgow Arms again. And now we hit the corner of the Powerhouse Museum, which anyone that's come to Australia as a tourist before, or Sydney as a tourist, has probably had a peek at the Powerhouse Museum at some stage. Now, I think I read that it's getting redeveloped. I think I don't know whether they're completely abandoning this site, or whether they're going to run it in parallel with a new one that they're building out at Parramatta. Now, speaking of Parramatta, that's probably another film that I'm eventually going to have to do as well, because that's another important CBD within Sydney with a massive population, a lot of shopping centres and facilities out there. I think somewhere along here as well, I was told by one of my uncles that along Harris Street here there used to be what was called the government printers. I think one of these buildings along here, the New South Wales government used to get all of their printing needs met. I don't know which building it is, but there you have it. Oh, there you go. I answered my question. The Powerhouse Museum's still operating because all the little kiddies are getting ready to go in there and explore. I might just get up this staircase over here outside the Powerhouse Museum and make sure that my sound's coming through okay, because I still don't have my Rode microphone back yet. Still using the handheld one from Joby. So as we view Hannah's Pies across the road, and I wanted to stop there in a second as well, so hang on a sec. Alright, we'll get down these stairs and have a look at Hannah's Pies. So we can get over and film this delightful mural. So yeah, this mural for Hannah's Pies. So this used to be a pie shop that, as the mural reads, was called Hannah's Pies. But I see since that it's been purchased and overtaken by another company. It's been taken over by the famous Harry's Cafe de Wheels. So Harry's Cafe de Wheels, where the first one was located down at Woolloomooloo, has now franchised and spread out all over the country. And so one of the things it's done is it's taken over what used to be Hannah's Pies as well. So I used to always walk past that building there, the Hannah's Pies, and always think about getting a pie there, but never did. Oh, here's another logo for Harry's Cafe de Wheels. Oh, there you go. It's the head office. So that's the head office of Harry's Cafe de Wheels, out the back of Hannah's Pies. There you go. Oh, what's this? Ice Cube. Ice Cube, Cypress Hill, and the Game doing a tour of Australia. Australia Tour 2023. Oh, there's the dates down there. March. So 23rd of March Melbourne, 25th of March Adelaide, 26th of March Sydney, and 28th of March Brisbane. Wow. So Ice Cube back out on tour. It's a name I haven't heard for a long time. There's a lot of cameras on this building just here. Don't know what's going on in there. So what I thought I might do, I thought I might walk down the rest of Harris Street and get my way down to Haymarket, and then probably walk a little bit into Darling Harbour, and then finish off the vid there today. Or actually no, not finish off the vid there. Got to find a Nectar, don't I? So maybe finish off that section down there, and then find myself a spot to have my nectar, because I've only had a morning nectar so far today, and I need to have an afternoon one. What's that joint over there? Oh, it's a Thai restaurant. There you go. So we're almost at the end of Ultimo already. We're almost at the border, and Ultimo basically ends up the road up there at Broadway, which is pretty much frames the couple of educational institutions that start over here. We've got the local TAFE, Ultimo campus there, and then behind that is UTS, University of Technology Sydney, and then it's Broadway. So I'll keep walking a little bit down here, and then I'll swing into Haymarket, and then make my way into Darling Harbour after that. So yeah, again, there's the local TAFE over there. I think I did a course over there at one stage, but I don't think I finished it. I got sick of going in on a Saturday. My course was on a Saturday because something extra that I wanted to have in my bag of tricks, and I just got sick of going in on Saturday, so I canned it. Oh, there's the UTS building in the background over there. Another cheeky little cafe restaurant in there called Soma. Alright, getting down Ultimo Road. This was always a cheeky little rat run, Ultimo Road. People would come through from like Surrey Hills or the eastern suburbs, and then make their way through Haymarket on Ultimo Road, and then is this guy going to move out of the way or what? I don't know why he's stopping here. Pretty unusual place to stop, clown. Oh, there's a, I don't know what this building is here above this goods line bridge. That was a building site for a long time, many decades. Don't know what it is now. Maybe it's part of one of the universities. Not sure. So I couldn't help myself. Decided I'd jump up on this bridge that had the goods line written on it to find out what it was all about. And it turns out that it used to be part of a rail line. Here's the rail line here stuck in the walkway, and what they've done is they've basically built a walkway from Central Station down that way over to Darling Harbour to provide a nice place for pedestrians to traverse Ultimo and Darling Harbour. So there you go, it's a good idea, and a bit of history on the goods line. So it actually was a goods line. It was a train line carrying goods. So let's get back down the stairs and finish off the first part of this tour before we go and have nectars. Alright, keep heading up Ultimo Road, get into Haymarket, and then we'll flip down and get into Darling Harbour, hey? So I lived in Sydney all my life, apart from a little stint I had living down in Melbourne, and I didn't know anything about that goods line. The only thing unusual that I knew about Central Station was that it was built on a graveyard, and that further up the track there was the Mausoleum Station, which was a special station to bring in the recently departed into Sydney, pass them over for burial and etc, etc. Cross against the lights here, get out of here. In Quay Street now, in Haymarket, making our way down to Darling Harbour. There's that delightful breeze again. See the wind rustling through those trees there. Just realised I was holding the microphone back towards me then. You don't want to hear me puffing and puffing along. So there's the view of the back of the Paddy's markets, which form the centrepiece of Haymarket. What day are we today? Yeah, the markets would be open today, but I'm not going in there. You've seen those before on one of my other vids. It's just a few market stores selling the usual. Camera just overheated there. So let's get going again down Quay Street. There's a little area that if you haven't been to Sydney for a while you wouldn't have seen, so I thought I might quickly film that. So there's the entrance to Chinatown and Paddy's Market's just there, but we're not going to go there today. I'm going to quickly go down here on our way to Darling Harbour and show you what they've built on the old site of the entertainment centre. Oh, they've built all of this. It's a shopping centre and restaurant complex. So there's all these restaurants and cafes in here now. And everybody will be chowing down having lunch at the moment as we walk past. Let's see if we can capture a few of them scoffing down their food. What do they call it? They call it Darling Square is the name for it. There's a few laneways with eateries down there as well, so make our way over here. So you can see a few eateries over there. So there's one of those laneways that I described before. See a few restaurants and drinking holes over there, and there's this little square that they've built over here that people are enjoying the sun while they have their lunch. There's another restaurant bar in there. I tell you what, that wasn't easy to walk through just there. It's got all of these gaps in the path. It's supposed to look pretty, I suppose, but pain in the ass to walk over. Oh, here we go. Here's one of the laneways that I mentioned. So here's one of the laneways with restaurants either side. They call it the Steam Mill Lane in Darling Park. I won't walk all the way down it, but it's just a bunch of restaurants and cafes. What's this joint? Holy Basil Thai and Laos food, or Laos, however you want to say it. Laos or Laos. I think Laos is the correct way, but probably get some, what do you call it, Laotian food in there. So pizza and pasta bar in there. So yeah, it's a delightful little precinct that they've built off the back of Haymarket on the old entertainment centre site. and bordering Darling Harbour. So another place for you to get some food and booze down your gullet when you come to Sydney. That's the exhibition centre directly in front of us as well. So maybe you'll come to Sydney to do be part of a trade show or exhibition. So you won't be far away from this Darling Square. There's the old Pumphouse Hotel over there. Do you remember the old Pumphouse? It was always a big feature of the old Darling Harbour, or when Darling Harbour was first developed by the government. And passing over or underneath the expressway here now again. Jeez, listen to that crow. So I might end the vid up here at this fountain, which is directly outside the Sydney's Chinese Gardens, which I filmed before. You'll find my Chinese Gardens video in my list. So yeah, as we face towards Darling Harbour, outside the Chinese Gardens, viewing this garden pumping up from the ground, I'll end this part of the vid here, and I'll see you in a moment when we grab a Nectar. So I made it to the Nectar spot. We're up at the top of the JP Morgan Tower, in between the Pitt Street Mall and Castlereagh Street. So I wanted to just do another quick shout out to Jenny. Thanks for the Nectars, Jenny. And let me just move the microphone out of the way so I can show you. So cheers, thanks for the Nectar. They gave it to me in a takeaway cup for some reason. But let me just give you a quick look inside this cafe that I'm at. I have spoken about it before. It's on level 7 of the JP Morgan Tower, which is above Westfield, off the Pitt Street Mall. So come up to level 7 of the JP Morgan Tower and you'll find this place. It's called Atrio. And HW loves to come up here to get away from the crowds, especially today, given that there's a lot of Christmas shoppers down here. Let's flip the camera around. So directly across the road over there is David Jones, the women's store. And that's Castlereagh Street down there. And I'll just show you quickly inside this Atrio cafe here. Some Christmas trees over there outside the JP Morgan Tower. And there's the cafe in the centre over there. So yeah, it's a nice quiet place to come to get away from the hustle and bustle down on Castlereagh Street and the Pitt Street Mall. Still a few people in here having lunch. So yeah, thanks for coming on the little skirt around Ultimo today. Finishing off in the Atrio cafe in the foyer of the JP Morgan building. If you're planning on going away over the Christmas break, I wish you all the best. But stay tuned for the next video, which I will do a bit of Christmas action around Sydney. So that's it. The video is over.